One of the best way of progressing in sadhana is you have to identify what are the difficulties and what are the obstacles and what could be the possible obstacles that will prevent you from doing good sadhana. Attraction in desire form in Mooladhara and Swadhisthana and the organs connected by Mooladhara and Swadhisthana. That means attraction towards opposite sex is one of the biggest obstacle in the smooth progress. So what is the best way before you actually educate yourself or upgrade your thinking process? The shortcut is, if you are a male, other than your wife, everyone in the planet is your mother. So there is no other perception. Even if it is a very bad lady, if it is very bad person, does not matter, she is the mother. We look at even the children as mother. And during the festivities of Navaratra, we actually invite young female kids from the neighborhood and we worship them as mothers on the 8th day or the 9th day of the processes. So that is the shortcut to cut the unnecessary desire from your agenda. And it's not difficult, it is so easy. And you would see that suddenly you are progressing manifold in your sadhana. One very important thing in Tantra and religious programs or philosophy, we often confuse, public often confuse, think that everything is one subject which is metaphysical. No, but even in metaphysical there are multiple divisions and departments. In religious practices and philosophical discoveries, they actually have two questions: what and why. What is this? Why is this? Now, when you have these questions forthcoming, you would always see multiple interpretations, and they are very much poetic expressions. And number of doctrines come into existence in the process. You have number of theories that come into existence. And many a time, these theories will actually contradict each other. And that ends up with conflict. Tantra is completely different. Tantra does not ask what. Tantra does not inquire into why. Tantra sees it is system. It only looks into how. For example, if a tree grows with multiple branches, the Tantra will say, how has it branched out? And so it is a step-by-step exploration, and that becomes experiential exploration, where you experience the reality, the truth. And so there is no conflict and no different doctrines actually. When we talk of Tantra, it is science. And Tantra does not talk about morality or immorality. It is beyond both morality and immorality, because it is simple science where you have to look into the processes and how are the processes taking place. So Everything in Tantra is revolving around how. And that's why it always are result oriented. The entire processes are result oriented. So there are none that where you do not have the results, because in the process, whether it is a success or a failure, but there is a result. There is no plain discussion, there is no plain hallucination, there is no plain imagination. There's nothing called imagination in Tantra. There is no poetic expression. There is no likely definitions based on hearsays. No. It is system. It is the system of nature. And the system of nature, how does it exist? How does that system exist? Tantra will look into the sunrise and sunsetting process, and it will inquire, how is this happening? And then we'll go on to exploration. How is weather changing? What are the elements impacting the changes of it? How the temperament of people are so different? How are they doing this? So when they look into how, they go to the deep into the root of its genesis and eventually reaches the nucleus. That is what Tantra is. So by exploration and by practice of Tantra, and particularly the doctrines as suggested and recommended by Ma Kamakhya and Gurudev, Guruvar, Shri Radharamanji, it is a very plain and simple processes, and it is very mathematical process. Mathematical process means if I have to go out of this complex, I have to take a step 1, a step 2, a step 3, a step 4, a step 5, and then eventually say that after 100 steps, I'm out of this building. But when we go for the sermons, we don't go for how. Instead, we jump to the next level in imagination, in thinking, and only in the thought process, without doing anything concrete, anything solid, anything evidence driven in that direction. And that is why you see there is so much of the deviation, there are so many variations in the thought process, in practices, in rituals across the world, because they are not Tantra. Because that's, I always call philosophy as oscillation between imagination and reality. So sometimes you touch the end of the imagination, and sometimes you come back to reality. So it is not 100% reality. The 100% reality would happen only in form of how. And when you have the question of how, of course, you have to go to explore, and exploration becomes experiential learning. That is what a Tantra exploration is.